Hey! Welcome into my channel. So today, it feels like it's so long, but today I'm going to be telling you special people, my wonderful people, my special people, my wonderful people, you special people, about a story that is like really close to my heart. This is like a true story. True story. So I'm going to be telling you guys about the time my baby brother, not say baby brother anymore, the big boy now, he got stabbed 30 times, 3-0. Like, is that even possible? Some people get stabbed like 2 times, once, and they die. And he didn't get stabbed with like a butter knife. He got stabbed with a real knife. So let's get into the story. So I was at home on a Friday evening. I have church on Fridays, and I used to do my washing on Fridays. So I was doing my washing. I never had a washing machine yet, so I still wash my stuff in the bath. A bit detailed. So I got a phone call from one of my friends at the time, and they were like to me, your brother has just got stabbed. So I remember at the time, I was like, stabbed. It didn't really hit my chest, like, whooshoof. It didn't hit my chest. But I remember a scripture came to me that says, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the living God will lift up a standard. So, I grazed over it for some reason. But then, like, literally 2 minutes later, my phone rang again. And it was my brother's best friend at the time. And he was like to me, my brother got stabbed 20 times. That's when I was like, what? So I hung up the phone. I called my mum. My mum works in a school, so you have to go through reception in order to call her out of her class for her to come on the phone. So I remember they were kind of not letting me speak to my mum. And then they were like to me, oh, we've got to get you through to the head teacher, and then let's see what she says. And then by the time I had passed through like 2 people, I was like, listen, my brother is dying. My brother just got stabbed, and I need to speak to my mum. So my mum has come on the phone now. I've explained the situation to her. And mums, that's her son. At the time, that was my mum's only son. So she literally was, as soon as I told her my brother had got stabbed and I said 20, my mum just started wailing straight away. Like, I was just like, that's when my heart just went. And then, I was thinking, no, this is serious. So I hung up the phone to my mum. She said she was going to come and get me on the way to the hospital, because going to the hospital, which was King's, was on the way of my mum coming from her workplace. So I called my bishop and I told her the predicament and the situation. She said to me, if I've got anointing oil, I should anoint my hands, and when I get there, I should call her. So she just said to me, everything's going to be all right. And then we got to the hospital. As we've gotten there now, all his friends are outside. And the doctors are saying to us that they don't think he's gonna make it. And I'm like, he's gonna make it. And at the time, backdrop. I had just given my life to Christ, I think a couple months. And I remember just feeling like, God, please do not forsake me. Like, everyone's going to laugh at me and stuff and saying she's gone to church, her brother's died and stuff. And I was thinking, God, please. Like, I can't handle that type of pain. And even when the doctor said that he wasn't going to make it, a slight part of my heart was just like, I'm never going to see my brother again. Like, even though I'm saying this story so calmly, at the time, if I could have wept myself, I would have wept myself. Like, this was my brother. My brother who, you know how it is with brothers and sisters. Like, we grew up together. We were, that's my brother. That's just my little bro. So we're in the waiting room, and they've said, okay, 2 people can go in. They've explained to us that he's had 2 blood transfusions on the spot, and he's lost a lot of blood. When we got to go in to where he was like wired up. He was so skinny, he was unrecognizable. And like, my mum was just crying and more crying. And then I called my bishop, and then she was just praying for him. She was speaking to him, And this was like my first miracle I've ever witnessed in my whole entire life. And she was praying for him, and then she was telling me like what was going on. Like she was talking to him, and she was telling him that it's not time yet. You have to come back. Your family are waiting for you. And then she was saying, as she was praying, like my hands were literally on fire. Like I felt electricity, I felt fire, I felt all kinds of sensations just going through my hands. Like my hands were vibrating as she was praying for him. And then yeah, she just said to me that there's something wrong with his eye. She said to me there's something wrong with his eye, and I was just like, his eye looks fine, because my brother, he normally sleeps with his eyes like this, like a bit open. So I was like, yeah, his eye's fine. And then but she was like, no, there's something wrong with his eye. So she said to me, everything is gonna be fine. Just believe that it's done. Just believe it's done. So I just thought this piece, like, it's done. It's done. So we've come out of there now, and we've gone back to the waiting room. And about an hour later, the doctors have come to us, and they've said to us, we've got good news and bad news for you. Which news do you want first? So we've said we want the good news. The good news is that he's stabilized and he's okay. And then the bad news is that his retina has been torn, so he's going to lose sight in his right eye. And yeah, my bishop, she was on the phone, remember? She was not in the room present with us, but she told us that there is something wrong with his eyes. And yeah, to be honest, it's better him being alive and him losing his sight in one of his eyes than him being dead. Do you not get what I mean? You get what I mean and what I'm saying. So at the time, it was a bit hard for me to cope with, I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking I should do this, like shut my eye, and I used to imagine like what it's like to only be able to see through one eye. But I was thinking this is better than being dead, if you get what I'm saying. So after that has happened, I had church that Friday, so I left the hospital. All my family had come by now, like everybody was in the hospital, like all my family was there. And I remember just saying to them, I'm going to church. Everyone was like, are you crazy? Your brother is practically not alive, and you're saying you're going to church. But remember, I told you guys, I just had peace that he was going to be fine. So even though I was still broken, I was still so traumatized, I still went to church. And I remember by the time I got there, the choir team had gone up, and I'm on the choir. So I remember just going to the altar, and I remember just singing to God. I remember just singing, praising God, giving God glory, because I had believed and trusted that God had done this thing. Like, if my bishop said it's done, then it's done. Even though he's not awake yet, I know it's done. It's finished. That's it. He's gonna be fine. And I was just giving God glory. And to be honest, I don't know if you go to church or what the predicament is with you, but if you've ever been to church, there is just something about being in the moment of praise and in worship where you just release yourself to God. And it's just like whatever is troubling you, whatever is bothering you, you're just like, God, unto you be glory. Because I can't, you're bigger than me. You're the only one who can sort this thing out. So yeah, he's fine. Glory to God. This is just one of those stories that has impacted my life in a way that God has shown himself to me to be really real. Like, if he had not made it, God is still real. Like, I just want to clarify that. God is still real, and he has another plan. But my name actually means, Nastasia means she who will rise again. It means resurrection. So it's just like this story has a part to play with my identity and who I am. So whenever I go through a really bad situation in life, I'm just like, God has the power to resurrect. He can bring any situation that is dead and he can make it live. Do you get what I mean? His way is just not my way. So it's just one of those stories that it connotes, it connotes, that's the word, with my name and who I am. My brother, he is me. That he's a part of me that if he breaks, I break. Do you know what I mean? That's my brother. Like, honestly, that's my brother. that's just my brother. Even every time I keep saying that's my brother, you know how I feel it in my chest. Like, that's just my brother. When you lose a brother or anything happens to your brother or anything, it hurts. It cuts really, really, really deep. And yeah, God is our strength. They say that a just man, he falls 7 times, but he will rise again. So I don't know, like, who's in a sticky situation, but as I said, like, wherever I go, that's my mentality. I'm going to rise again. Like, whenever I meet someone and they're in a sticky situation, I say to them, you are going to rise again. Like, you will rise again. Like, life doesn't stop here. You will rise again. And I just feel like that experience, it affirmed me. So even though I said 20 in the beginning, when they had finished doing everything, it was 30. They counted 30 stabs. And the strangest part of the whole story is that the boy who actually did stab my brother, they didn't have any personal beef. He didn't tell him to anything about his mom. It was not personal. So when he had walked up to my brother, which my brother was sitting on a bus in broad daylight, he just said to him, are you so-and-so? Obviously, my brother didn't know who he was. So that's what gave him the advantage to do what he did to him. If he had known who he was, he could have known, okay, maybe this is someone who I have controversy with or something like that. It wasn't like that. And I even had heard the boy went back to his area and he had told his people that he had killed my brother. He thought he had killed him. But we thank God that in that situation, God intervened and he spared his life. So yeah, there's life. And even when my brother woke up, he woke up the next day. I was there when he woke up, and when he woke up, he asked for my grandma because he's a nanny's boy. But he literally just said to me, he thought he was dead. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, he gave up. Like, after he had been stabbed so much times, he just literally gave up, and he thought, yeah, this is it. My life has finished here. But as long as you still have breath inside your body, life can take a spiral. It can turn around. So just don't give up, you know. And in that last second when you've given up, sometimes that glimmer of light can just flicker and just come on. So yeah, I remember even at the time, like, even after the whole ordeal had happened, I remember I had this, there was an anger on my chest. I can't lie to you guys. But when I actually see like black boys, and I'm black myself, so no racism, I just used to have this anger towards them, like, one of you guys nearly killed my brother. I generalized, and that was really, really wrong of me. And I had to pray as well and ask God, please, if he could remove this from me, because it's not one for all. Do you get what I mean? Someone made a mistake, so I have to be forgiven towards everybody. And I guess that situation has just taught me that, like, our young black men really need love. They need care. They need attention. They need these things. Because to have someone stab somebody 30 times repeatedly, that person needs a lot of love. They need a lot of care, because that is a very, like, that's no heart. That person's heart has been, like, closed off. They don't care if they take somebody else's life. So I guess as you've gathered, like, knife crime is very, very close to my heart. Very close to my heart. That's why whenever I come in contact with any young boy, even starting from babies, you have to start from young. Whoever, I always try my ultimate best to encourage them, to affirm them, to put words inside of them that they will remember, like, that they are loved, they are special, they are unique, they are rare, and they have a special purpose. So yeah, thank you for taking the time out to watch me today. And this is my story. This is my story, you know. And I don't know how many people can relate to it, but this is my story. So yeah, feel free to like, comment, definitely share and subscribe, because I know that this is a topic that is so close to our heart right now. Like, knife crime is so high right now. There's so much happening, and yeah, just do the best you can do. You know, it starts here. Charity begins at home. It starts in our community. It starts with our next door neighbours. It starts with our friends' children. It starts there. You know what I mean? It's not far-fetched. This thing happened to me in my own household.